Well, hello. It's time for today's mirror conversation, and I have this amazing question that I've been posing for myself. And it's, if the world were to follow you, would you be pleased with where you took it? And this came in my, I was reading Conversations with God, book 2 this morning, because I'm really excited to read book 4 and wanted a little bit of background because I had never read any of Neale Walsch's work. And I find this quote, and it just really shifted everything for me this morning. And I love when that happens, when there's like something that truly like breaks through the clutter. And it's like, yes, because this is the first time I can honestly say in my life, not that I ever would have led anyone into peril or anything like that, but like, is what I'm doing something that I'm going to be like really proud to show my children, and that is something that truly makes a difference. And what ended up happening is like right before this, I had received a new project yesterday, and I was like reviewing everything for it, and you know, it's a standard marketing campaign project, one I have written many times, and it's beautiful, it's beautifully orchestrated, it's a really clean concept. And as I was reviewing it, I just finally realized, like, I think for the first time, like, what my true marketing genius is that I saw this campaign it was like a 6-part campaign, standard campaign, standard kind of theming of, here's why we're awesome. And instead, what I saw was this amazing opportunity to take this and actually make someone's day, like to go beyond breaking through the clutter and into making an impact in someone's life. And gosh, it just felt so good because it all tied together with the brand. It was something that's like totally effortless to execute. It is like perfect in every way and could become like this major brand campaign versus, just something that started out as like a 6-part campaign could in fact turn into, if this prototype goes well, something that would be a brand campaign and like really make people smile. And that got me really excited because I love seeing people smile. And this idea of doing that, where you have this like campaign that is kind of just the status quo, designed to do the same things, it may even perform fairly reasonably in marketing terms, but it just needs life. It needs something that is going to leave an impact, versus not. Like, what if we could use marketing to actually make people's day? What if breaking through the clutter is actually breaking through the clutter and not always trying to sell me something for your own benefit, but just telling me I'm beautiful in the morning. That's the kind of marketing that I think could make a difference. And so I got really inspired and really excited, and I can just see it. I can see what I want to be doing. I can see how effortless it is for me to do it. And then when I saw that question after that happened, and it's like, if the world were to follow you, would you be pleased with where you're taking it? And I was like, yes, I am. I actually, like this is what I think marketing has the opportunity to do. It's easy to write marketing campaign and copy that's designed to sell. but can you write marketing campaign copy that's designed to change lives, no matter what it is that you sell? And we have this amazing outlet. We have people's ears. We have their attention in every outlet. The media industry is the most prolific message we receive in all of our devices. What if we started to use it to tell people how awesome they are? And what if we started to use it to just be that reminder that the media industry can be used for good, you know, to inspire and build people up versus just be an engine that pumps more profit into a company's coffers that then may or may not be shared and actually used to spread good into the world. Like, what if we actually take it upon ourselves to ensure that when we write marketing copy and when we write marketing messaging, that it's designed to change someone's life, to be that shining spot in their day, the thing that they're grateful for, the thing that they call and actually thank you for. That sounds really awesome. So that was, I like starting my day out like that, honestly. I like when my day starts out and it's like really inspirational right from the first, hour. And I do this crazy thing. I like to go to bed early and I like to get up early. And most of my best stuff comes between the hours of 4 and 6 a.m. And right now it's after 6. I'm just getting showered, but I got up at 4. And I don't get up. It's not like I have an alarm at 4. It's that my body wakes up at that time. And this is when I usually have some of my most thoughtful introspection conversations. I do meditation, usually right upon waking up, and sometimes I usually do this Vishuddha 6 phase guided meditation every day. But for some reason today I was inspired to go look at this campaign, so I didn't do that today, but I usually do. And I just use it as that really slow time where there's no expectations, there's nothing that you have to do. And it's just kind of slowly integrating into the day and waking up. And I just find that there's something about allowing that opens the door for creativity and inspiration. And I just remember that, this is something that I've done for a really long time. I've always been an early riser. In fact, my first book was written between the hours of 4 to 6 a.m. over 4 months, basically. I would wake up when I was launching my company and I would write for 2 or 3 hours, usually for 5 hours. Actually, I would do 4 to 9, and then I would start my agency day at 9 a.m. and then go until, 4:30 or 5. And so I've always been an early riser, but I used to have to rush through that time. It was I would get up and I had something I had to do, or a project I had to find, or I needed to be getting up for work and getting ready. And so that time wasn't really time with myself. It was just time I happened to be up and, I would get things done, because it is a time when I'm very efficient. Actually, it's a great time for me to write. And so now when you don't have now that I haven't earmarked that time of having to be something specific, I'm finding that it's something more prolific where that time is where I see the clearest visions. It's when I have the most inspiration. It's where I can actually see above the clutter and what's going on in my day, and I can just see really clearly during that time. And I don't know how others honestly manage without that kind of time. I look back at how I used to work, and I'm wow, I really couldn't do that. I wouldn't be able to sacrifice my, meditation time, my sleep, my, the ability to have like flow in my day without, calendaring every minute of it, because I just remember how much stress that caused in my body of trying to keep up with it. And I literally can feel the difference in my body of the stress that is no longer there, because that's no longer there. And then also, like, the minute I start thinking about it, my body's like, whoa, like, I can feel it start to come back of just the thought of it. And here's the thing that I'm learning about that is that when you're in this constant state of anxiety, you have stress hormones in your body. Now, these stress hormones, I've been studying the Wim Hof method, and this is something that Sarah and I will be talking about soon. We're going to be coming back and launching a new podcast. We're super excited, called Sisterhood Reimagined. And one of the things that I'm doing is testing this Wim Hof method of breathing for looking at how it affects my anxiety, depression, looking how it affects my physical performance, and looking at like tolerating the cold and stuff like that. And as I'm looking at that and I'm researching it, the things that I'm learning are that these stress hormones in your body are essentially like you're being attacked. Like if you go back to the primal times, like essentially our bodies are in permanent fight or flight response mode with these stress hormones running through them. And then when we give it nutrition, we're like injecting these chemicals that our body doesn't know what to do with, and sugars that all of cancerous cells feed on. And and it's like you create this acidic state in your body. And when your body is acidic, from what Wim's research says, is that's what causes cancer. That's, what essentially causes organ failure. That's what causes your body to attack itself. And so I'm looking at how do I create a more alkaline state in my own body so that it's in this, permanent self-healing mode. And I'm just looking at, all these areas of toxicity in my life that I didn't even notice, so things like that, carrying stress and the toxicity that it has, is that it actually destroys our body. And we likely attribute it to many other things. It might present itself as illness. It might present itself as cancer. It might present itself as depression. It might, many different things. And then you look at then we look at food and we look at what we're putting in our bodies and why we're putting it in our bodies. And I get it. I lived on fast food. I actually, growing up, we lived on all processed food. And then when I got into adulthood, I just didn't really have good health patterns because I hadn't learned them. And so I just kind of picked that up. And we ate out almost every meal. And I ate fast food multiple times a week. And, and so basically, my whole life for 37 years, I was living on processed food. And then I had strokes, and it's like, well, why did you have strokes? Well, if you think about just the level of toxicity of my body never having true nutrition, being constantly dehydrated because I never drink enough water. Even now I'm drinking coffee and should probably be drinking water. And then combine that with the anxiety and the pressure of having to constantly produce and deliver results. And of course, I measured myself so incessantly that I actually knew whether or not I was producing results. So you can just imagine when things didn't go the way I wanted them to. I was just my own worst enemy with my thoughts in my head of not measuring up or not being able to measure up. And then equally could turn around and be like, shut that down and move into positivity. That was one gift I had, is I could shut my mind down. But as I look at all these different areas of my life back then, I would say, no, I wouldn't have wanted people to follow me because I was walking them into death, honestly, quite literally walking them into my own death. If I were to continue in that lifestyle, I would absolutely have another stroke. There's no question. My physical body is not strong enough to handle that level of anxiety anymore. And it's not even about like that my physical body isn't strong. It's just not equipped. Our bodies are not equipped. No one's body is equipped to handle that. And if you are, then when you release it, you'll feel like you're floating on air. It's the best feeling in the world, because when you finally let go of all of that, like sense of obligation and responsibility for everyone else around you, you start to realize that the only way you can truly serve anyone is to be whole within, and that all the service that you do from that place of having an empty cup inside and needing something from someone else, like it just creates this dependency on others that you can truly never be happy, because you always will need something from someone else, or something from something else, whether it's food or alcohol or drugs. If it's, the way that your husband looks at you, or, if your wife touches you or not, there will always be something that you will require in order to be happy. And that's an incredible burden to bear. So no, I couldn't in the past say that I would have wanted people to follow me. But I can say that I really am excited for those who choose to follow what I'm doing now, because this is something that is this movement of spreading love into the world, and using the tools at our disposal that we have to actually make a difference in someone's life, to actually show them that whatever their thoughts are, that they think that they're not good enough, as Marissa Peer says, like we can actually spread the message that people are enough and that they can be themselves, and we can actually help limit judgment and start honoring people in the media. And when we see shaming, we can refuse to click on it and say, no more of this. I'm not supporting this. Like, you put these headlines in my face, I'm not clicking on it ever. And then they will stop being in the headlines, because they are there because people click on them. So if you look at something like that and you want to click on it, take a deep breath instead and just tell yourself, I love you. I love that you want to see what that celebrity is doing right now. That is totally out of control and crazy. But I actually know that, like, deep inside, that girl's hurting. And so I'm not going to be part of the engine that fuels her hurt. I'm going to actually love her, and I'm not going to click. Because that's all that's happening with anyone, is everyone's just hurt. Everyone just wants love. And if we start sharing our love, like actually, truly being that change, being love in everything that we do, if your life were completely visible, that was the conversation, is visibility. If your life were completely visible, full transparency, what would you have to hide? What would be behind that door that you wouldn't want someone to see? And I honestly look at removing the veil of my own life. And this is something that I've said I'm open to, actually, cameras all the time, because I think it would be incredible if people actually saw what it looked like to live authentically, to live honestly, to stand behind everything that you do and know that what you're doing is coming from the best place of intention. And if you mess it up along the way, it's still going to have come from a place of love. Like, I can stand behind that now. And I think that if we actually just see what it looks like, it's so freeing to live that way. There's no reason to lie. None. Like, why would you lie? There's just nothing left to lie about. You don't have to remember anything, because everything is just truth. And everything that you do becomes something that is a clear reflection of you. And so if you have love in your heart and you're spreading love through the world, then the only thing left to see is love. And I know that might sound a little new agey. I know some of my friends are like, when did you get all new agey? And it's like, well, when you actually see what's on the other side of death, it doesn't look so new agey anymore. It actually starts to become your truth. It becomes what you know is true, that this world we live in, that we've created with heroes and villains and victims and right and wrong and good and evil, we continue to create it every day by allowing and tolerating it. And we actually can change it just by changing ourselves. If each one of us just turned and said to our hearts, Matt Kahn says this, if we all everyone in the world just turned and said to our hearts, I love you, it would like heal the entire planet. And I start to ask questions like, why don't we try it? Like what's the harm in trying it? And the thing that comes up is like, could we get enough people to do it at the same time? And I say, yes, we can, because we have this media engine that gets, millions of people marching on DC and standing up for the change that they want to see. What if we actually said the change we want to see is a world full of love, peace, and harmony? And in doing that, we're going to come together in love, peace, and harmony all at once, all at the same time, all around the world. We're going to turn to ourselves and we're going to say, I love you. It's okay. You can be you. You don't have to be anything for anyone else. Just be you. And we actually started accepting people for that. We actually did that, not just thought it, not just wanted to be it, and then in the back of our mind judge them. But when we saw ourselves judging, we loved ourselves because we know that's just old conditioning. It's not who we really are. And we just released it in that moment. That's something that could change the world. And that's a campaign I love to build. So I hope your day is equally as awesome and inspiring as my morning has been. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.